Well, the Apaches come out running there, Rufus. The first play for the Apaches, they went to Dino Pasquale, and he's been pretty successful in his first 10 games overall. He's got 562 yards, 8 touchdowns. On this big run here for the Apaches, that was Damon Groves. He also counters with 538 yards, only 2 TDs, so they're a very good running team, just like Santa Monica.
And of course, and I don't know, perhaps that's something they may have seen in the scouting report on the Olympians. As we know, Mark Harper, the fine Santa Monica running back, rushed for over 250 yards, I think something like 288 yards against the Olympians, and 5 touchdowns. And maybe the Apaches think that this is the chink in the Olympians' armor as such, that they're vulnerable to the ground game, and perhaps they're going to try to exploit that tonight. We'll have to wait and see, but as you said, Alex, it certainly appears that they're content right now to keep the ball on the ground against the Olympians. The ball is out at the 41-yard line. It's a 1st down and 5 on the illegal procedure penalty against the Olympians. And they keep the ball on the ground, and this time they pick up short yardage on it, bringing up, about a 2nd down and 4.
Well, that was Dino Pasquale again. Their leading rusher for the Apaches on the ground there. He's number 30, Dino Pasquale. We'll be hearing his name along with Groves, Damon Groves, and the quarterback also does a little bit of running. So they're a more or less offensive threatening team when they keep it on the ground there.
So once again, the Apaches come out in the I formation. They send number 24 in motion. Once again, they keep it on the ground, and he's met by a host of Olympians, and he's going to be short of the 1st down, it would appear from here. And if he is, it'll bring up a 3rd down and 1. It is. It's a 3rd down. And it's going to be about a yard short the 1st down. Well, they're calling it a long 2 yards. So a big 3rd down play for the Olympians as the ball is on the 44-yard line of the Apaches of Arcadia High School. This is the opening drive, as we mentioned. There are 9 minutes left in the 1st quarter, and the Apaches take a timeout here.
Well, that was Damon Groves, number 44 for Arcadia, calling timeout quickly, and the team does something a little bit different. They get down on one knee and stand at attention while their coach comes up, their offensive coach, and gives them a little sign because they don't want to turn the ball over here. 3rd and 3 up on the scoreboard. So you pretty much know that they're either going to keep it on the ground or they want to surprise the Olympians with a pass.
Well, as I was saying, Alex, the one thing about I noticed in looking at the program about the Arcadia team, they aren't a high-scoring team as it would appear by the scores from this season. It looks like the most points I've seen them score all season has been 30 points, and once they scored 21 and 22. And 23 once. And otherwise, their scores have been down in the 10s, 15s, and so forth. They've even been shut out once. So it would look like, just looking at the record, and fans, I'll say that, I'm only looking at the record. I know very little about this team, but it would look like the Olympians have an opponent that's within their league and an opponent that they've got a good shot at being able to handle tonight. So on the 3rd down and 3, let's see what they go to now. They change the formation. They do keep it on the ground once again. And looks like they've got the necessary yardage for the 1st down. And on the carry, that looks like it was Dino Pasquale. And as you mentioned to me on the way up, Alex, you said that they've got 2 or 3 running backs, all of whom have gained 400 or 500 yards carrying. So they're able to move the ball around. And what that does, I guess, for the Olympians is that you've got to play all of their running backs pretty honestly and not key on one man.
It sure does, and like I was telling you last week, that I think it's to Olympians' advantage that they were playing Santa Monica so late because that's what they're going to have to face with in the CIF.
So on the 1st and 10, they go to the air for the first time, it would appear, but he's going to be sacked, and he is. The Leuzinger defense gets in that time. There was number 77 that was in there. Andre English was one that I saw. Also looks like Manny Gonzalez, number 35, was in there. And, of course, Manny had an excellent defensive game the last 2 weeks that we've watched the Olympians.
He was also helped there by Jonas Woodring, the guy you like to call the Hurricane, which is his nickname. His parents wear that sweatshirt up here in the stands every week with pride, and it's to no wonder why he's called the Hurricane.
So it's a 2nd down and 17 for Arcadia. They're pushed back to their 41-yard line. This time to keep the ball on the ground again, and there's a tremendous hold. Tyrone Scott is giving pursuit. Can Tyrone catch him? He's going to take a shot, and he does finally, but not until it's a big, big gain down to inside the 20-yard line. So they take the ball from the 41 to 20. It was a 40-yard romp by number 5, Jeff Folsom. Brought down from behind finally by Tyrone Scott.
Well, Tyrone Scott had to be there, because if he wasn't there, that's 6 points right there for the Apaches. Number 21, Richie Jacobs, missed that play up on the line. He missed the tackle, and that's what let the rusher get so far down the line.
And they spot the ball at the 18-yard line of the Leuzinger Olympians. And there's a little mix-up in the backfield. They do keep it on the ground, handing off to Damon Groves, and Groves is going to be stopped after a very short gain.
For a minute there, it looked like some of the Arcadia guys were just giving the Olympians flashbacks of Mark Harper and some of the Santa Monica rushers from last week.
Here we see the replay again where Groves not Groves, but Folsom breaks through the line, is finally brought down from behind by Tim Camillo and Tyrone Scott. But a big, big carry for them. It makes it a 2nd down and 8 from the 15-yard line. We're in the opening quarter, folks. The score is 0-0, but the Arcadia Apaches are threatening. They go back to pass, and the pass is completed down inside the 5-yard line, it would appear. And just like that, with 6 minutes, 51 seconds left in the first quarter, the Arcadia Apaches are threatening already. On a drive that started at their own 20-yard line, they're now down inside the Leuzinger 5-yard line.
Once again, I saw number 21 get burned there for the Olympians. That's Richie Jacobs. We usually do commend him. Here we see the play on the replay. Quarterback goes back, tosses it right there, and Richie is just burned, right? You saw him, and he got lost in his tracks. Let the receiver make the reception.
So they're on the 4-yard line, and there's a handoff. The handoff was to Damon Groves, and Groves was hit very hard as he approached the line of scrimmage.
That was Tim Camillo there, number 24, applying the vicious hit there to stop the ball carrier and stop getting that yardage that the Apaches are trying to get.
So that makes it a 2nd down and goal from the 3-yard line. We're still in the first quarter. Arcadia started this drive at their own 20-yard line. They're now down at the Olympian 3-yard line, threatening to score here. We'll see what they do out of this formation. They're showing an I formation. And out of the I, they hand off to the second back through, and it's a touchdown. That was number 36 for them, Jim Marshall. So with 6 minutes, 8 seconds on the board in the first quarter, the Arcadia Apaches strike first, going up the middle from the 3-yard line for a touchdown.
Well, it was a very simple play there, Rufus. The Apaches just stacked everybody, kept them in tight on the right side, and Marshall just trotted right up the middle like there was a big gaping hole. The Olympians could not control it.
And here's the extra point attempt. Here's the kick. It's up, and it's good. So with that, the score is now 7-0. The Olympians will be going on offense for the first time. That drive consumed 5 minutes, 52 seconds of the first quarter. So, folks, here's our chance tonight to see our own Leuzinger Olympians, and I'm sure you're as anxious to see them as I am to see what they'll unfold in this first round CIF playoff game.
Well, the Apaches executed a very well-played offense there. They kept it on the ground their first 5 plays, keeping it on the ground, getting the first down when they needed, getting the big yardage when they needed, and then open it up with a very well-executed pass there. They made the 2 receptions, and they got them within striking distance, got 7 points up on the board. So now the Olympians have their backs against the wall, and they're going to have to start all over. As you saw there, they couldn't stop Marshall from just getting into that end zone.
There you saw it on the replay, ran right over the middle. And as we wait for the Apache kickoff, and there it is, and it's sailing out of bounds. Looks like it's going to go out of bounds. That'll be an automatic flag on the play.
Well, I was just about to say that number 5, the kicker, Jeff Folsom, he's, from what I've heard from the coaches, he's a very well strong kicking. He's got a good kicking game that he displays for the Apaches, that everything they've seen on film from the 3 films that they were given from Arcadia at the CIF meeting there, that guy could kick it into the end zone. He didn't come too close there, and now they moved the ball back 5 more yards because it didn't quite get far enough and went out of bounds.
So this time they'll be kicking off from the 35-yard line. And the Olympians, back to receive for the Olympians is number 21, Richie Jacobs, along with, it looks like Tyrone Scott. And once again, it goes out of bounds. So their kickers having some difficulty early on, Alex, getting the ball into the playing field. Is that, who's that back with Richie? That's number 12, I'm sorry.
That's Damon Whitmore.
Okay.
But like we've been mentioning, the Apaches are coming out a little bit unsuccessful there with their kicking game. That Jeff Folsom, all he has to do is get it over the line and get it in the midfield, but somehow it comes off the side of his foot and goes out of bounds.
And of course, the advantage that this does for the Olympians, the farther back he has to kick from, the better their initial contact will be when they get the ball. And of course, whatever Damon or Richie can add to that will all be plus yardage. And of course, we've seen all season that Richie Jacobs is a dangerous return man, and he can break one at any time. Okay, this looks like it's going to be good. And horror of all horrors, it's not handled by Richie. Finally picks it up and carries them into the end zone, so they'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. So all of that posturing goes for naught for the Olympians. They aren't able to turn what should have been an opportunity to get excellent field position in anything. They do start from their own 20, however. First down and 10 with 6 minutes, 8 seconds left in the first quarter. The Leuzinger Olympians trail the Arcadia Apaches by a score of 7-0.
Well, Zach Odom there, the quarterback, the junior quarterback for the Olympians, number 11, was coming off the sideline a little bit late, so maybe he was getting some last-minute words there from the head coach, Steve Carnes.
Okay, well, Zach brings him up to the line of scrimmage. He's got Tim Camillo in the backfield. He keeps it on the ground, handing off, and there's a fumble on the play, it would appear, and the early signal is that it's been recovered by the Arcadia Apaches. And that was Mark Nicoli, number 70, with the fumble recovery. I couldn't see who that was on the carry, Alex.
It looked like Damon Whitmore there, number 12, coming out with his head hanging low.
That's who I thought it was. I didn't want to falsely accuse the young man, however, but I am being told that it was Damon Whitmore. Here we see on the replay that it was, in fact, Damon. The ball is fired at the 26-yard line. It's first down and 10. Arcadia keeps the ball on the ground for very short yardage, if any. Makes it a second down, and they're showing about 9 yards.
That's very hard for a visiting team to do. Come over here in cold weather, let the offense score on them, and then not take advantage of 2 balls that went out of bounds on them, and then on the first play fumble the ball and lose it.
That's got to hurt. Turnovers, of course, are always very costly. We saw turnovers hurt the Olympians against both Hawthorne and Santa Monica. It's a second down and 8 from the 25-yard line. They drop back to pass. There's a pass in the flat taken by number 21. It's completed, and he goes out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. It would appear from here, inside the 20-yard line. That pass was to Jamie Brashear.
And if we can see this on a replay right there, Benioff keeps going to the right side where Richie Jacobs is and Tyrone Scott, and it seems to be working. It's effective, so Arcadia will just be keeping on trying it.
So while we've got a break in the action here, the score is 7-0 in favor of the Arcadia Apaches. The Olympians turned the ball over on their first offensive drive, gave Arcadia, Arcadia took their opening drive, I should say, and drove 80 yards for the touchdown score. And, of course, the extra point was good, made it 7-0. The Olympians on their first possession in the game, actually on their first play from scrimmage, had a turnover, a fumble by Damon Whitmore at the 26-yard line. And the Apaches are taking the ball from there and they're moving. And now they've got a first down at the 16-yard line of the Leuzinger Olympians. Actually, they spotted at the 15-yard line with 5 minutes, 8 seconds to go. The Apaches on the Olympian 15-yard line, already leading by a score of 7-0.
Yeah, smart thing I see that the Olympians are doing on the sideline is Damon Whitmore and Zach Odom are going over their exchange of the ball handling. So hopefully what happened to them on their first possession won't come again in their next possessions.
Ball's actually at the 17-yard line, folks. It's a first down and 10 out of the I formation. They drop back. They hand off to the first man through, and he picks up 3 or 4 yards on the carry. That'll make it a second down and about 8 for them from the 15-yard line. The ball's inside the 15-yard line. Let's call it a second down and 7.
Just like I mentioned to you on the way up here on the freeway there, Rufus, that I thought coming into this game that the Arcadia Apaches would be a similar team to the Santa Monica Vikings. They keep it on the ground about 90% of the time, and they did that 10% where the quarterback could drop over and pass. And they're airing it out. They're spreading it out. Both tactics are working for them tonight.
Of course, Ed Benny off his quarterback for Arcadia. Once again, they send the man in motion out of the I formation. He drops back to pass across the middle. It's completed, and it's a touchdown. That touchdown went to number 24. That was Mike Gherkin. So, the score is now 13-0 in favor of the Apaches of Arcadia.
Well, Mike Gherkin just went up the middle. They threw off the Olympians on his fake handoff. Gherkin goes up right there. Nobody's there to stop him. Right by Quan Banks and another defensive player, and it's another 6 points.
And the kick is good. So now the score stands 14-0 in favor of the Arcadia Apaches with 4 minutes 17 seconds left in the first quarter. Our own losing Olympians, Alex, have dug themselves a bit of a hole here, and baby, there's no tomorrow. You know, you lose and you're out.
That's one thing, that's right. It's not like a Bay League game or a preseason game. CIF is California Interscholastic Federation playoffs, and in what that means, folks, is that one loss and you're out. There's no tomorrow, there's just next year. So what the Olympians have to do now is hope for a big play, because that's what sparked them last week when they played Santa Monica. They waited for the big turnovers, the fumbles, or the big play, and that's what sparked them en route to a 6 points into the touchdown.
Well, our Olympians certainly need to get back into this one as quickly as possible. Of course, 14 points is not an insurmountable lead by any stretch of the imagination, and we've got plenty of football time left. There's Richard Jacobs taking the kickoff, and Richard makes a fine return by Richard. Excellent effort on his part as he brings the ball out to the 30-yard line, just out. Well, they spot it right on the 30-yard line. So from there, the Olympians once again will go on offense with 4 minutes 9 seconds left in the first quarter. They're trailing by a score of 14-0, and let's hope they can get their offense untracked here.
Well, an interesting observation I picked up here from the paper, that Mike Gherkin, the guy that caught that for a touchdown, also the defensive player with 8 interceptions.
And here's Zach Odom. Once again, they keep the ball on the ground, and they push it out to about the 35-yard line. So it's going to be a pickup of about 5 yards for the Olympians to make it a second down and 5 from the 35-yard line.
Well, at least we didn't see a fumble there on the first possession by the Olympians. Maybe Whitmore had a little bit of the first play jitters, you know, it being the cold weather and the handling of the ball. Maybe he got that out of the way, and maybe they get rolling on the right foot here.
Once again, the Olympians keep the ball on the ground. This time Zach Odom has got it, and he's being heavily pursued. He gets away from one man. He's got some field to run with. Zach is going. He's finally chased out of bounds. And Odom is chased out of bounds as it would appear that he came close to the midfield stripe. Excellent individual effort by Zach Odom as he was trapped at one point way behind his own line of scrimmage, was able to break it and pick up good yardage for the first down on that play.
Well, one of the reasons why that play works right here is because he's scrambling. He can't find anybody open, so he has to take it on his own. And there he shows why he's got 442 yards and 11 touchdowns rushing, because he can get rid of the defenders coming at him and just score the big yards.
And off the first down and 10, the Olympians keep the ball on the ground. They pick up very short yardage on the play. The ball is spotted at the 49-yard line. The Olympians have made penetration into Arcadia territory for the first time tonight. The nose of the football is just over the 50-yard line inside Arcadia territory. This is a 2nd down and 9 for the Olympians. Once again, they're in an I formation. They pitch back to the second man through, and he picks up excellent yardage on the carry. He picks up about 5 yards. That was Marvin Johnson with the carry. The backfield had Marvin Johnson and Tim Camilo. Marvin was the second man through, and of course Zach Odom pitched it off to him.
Well, Marvin Johnson, as we noticed from last week, recovering those 2 fumbles, one for 6 points in the end zone there. He's only a sophomore, so this is very valuable experience that he is learning tonight, which will be paying off maybe next year and the years to come.
This time they come out in the split backfield. The handoff is to Damon Whitmore, and Tim Camilo, I'm sorry. And Tim comes around right in. He's going to be close to a first down. And they say it is a first down. So the Olympians, Alex, have started to show a little offensive movement. We see the crowd trying to rally the team on. We've got a small but spirited crowd here, and we thank all the fans for having made this trip up to Arcadia. We know it's a bit of a ways from home. It took Alex and I over an hour and 45 minutes in rush hour traffic to get here, so we may still have some fans that are somewhere out there on the freeway trying to make their way here. Nonetheless, from the 39-yard line of Arcadia, it's a 1st down and 10 for the Leuzinger Olympians as they keep the ball on the ground. They pick up about 3 yards on the play. That'll bring up, let's call it a 2nd down and 7.
Well, that was Tim Camilo there with a short yardage rush there. He only probably got like 2 yards off that. He wasn't as successful as the prior possession he had, which he rambled there for about 6 yards. But like you were saying, some offensive movement that this little but mighty crowd has been bringing up. Maybe it's just to keep warm, because I know I would do that. I don't have a fireplace in front of me, but that spirit has just got to keep them warm somehow.
Well, they're at the 37-yard line. It's a 2nd down and 8 for the Olympians. This is their best offensive movement of the game thus far. Odom drops back to pass, and he's got a receiver. It looks like it was Quan Banks, and it was. Of course, late in the season, Quan Banks started to play some wide receiver for the Olympians. Early in the season, he was used strictly as a defensive back, and of course, he did a fine job at the defensive back position for the Olympians, having intercepted, I believe, 6 passes on the season. Here we see the replay. We see just a straight slant down the line to Quan Banks.
And one thing that we are seeing here tonight is that a lot of guys going both ways. Quan Banks scored a touchdown last year over 80 yards last week, and here he was met head-on by Marshall, the guy who scored the first touchdown for Arcadia.
And it's a 1st down and 10 for the Olympians from the 27-yard line. That's Damon Whitmore, and there's a flag on the play. The early signal is that it may be a face mask against Arcadia, and if it is, that's going to be 10 more yards, maybe 15. I believe that's a 15-yard penalty, which would move the Olympians down to the 12-yard line.
And there we see on the replay there, Jeremiah Carroll, number 84, was guilty of that. Almost gave Camilo some kind of whiplash there by making that neck just snap.
And on the penalty, the face mask was only a 10-yard penalty, so the ball is now down at the 17-yard line. And from the 17, it's a 1st and 10 for the Olympians. They're trailing right now by a score of 14-0. There are 15 seconds left in the first quarter. This will probably be the last play of the quarter as we wind down. Out of the I formation, they hand off to Marvin Johnson. Johnson slants around left side, and he picks up, maybe 3 yards on the carry. And that is the end of the first quarter. So after 1 quarter, the Leuzinger Olympians trail the Arcadia Apaches by a score of 14-0. But, folks, the good news is our Olympians are moving. They're at the Arcadia 14-yard line with a 2nd down and about 8 yards to go. And it looks like they finally got the offense on track, Alex.
Well, they finally did, and no sooner said than done, because they needed to get something started on their now that the possession that they do have now, because they needed it in the first possession, they fumbled it, and then they needed it now here, and then they hopefully get something going and score a few touchdowns. punch a few scores in there before halftime and hopefully tie this game up.
Well, right now, what's not needed, of course, is a turnover. And the last couple of weeks, I think particularly against Hawthorne, Alex, we saw the Olympians get inside the 20-yard line, I believe, at least on 6 occasions that I can recall, and were only able to punch the ball through for any kind of score, whether it was a field goal or a touchdown, only twice in that game. And I'm sure memories of that certainly haunt them to this day, because when you get inside the opponent's 20-yard line, you should be able to come away with some points.
And then you also have to look back and see that it was a rivalry game. The intensity was very high, and a lot of things like that happened.
So from the 13-yard line, they're saying it's a 2nd down and 8. The scoreboard shows 2nd down and 12, but actually it's 8 yards. Odom drops back to pass. He fakes. He goes over the top. He's got a man. Oh, it was a little too long. Pass intended for Jeff Loudon. Great throw by Zach. Led him just a little too much.
Just a little too much. Jeff Loudon, a big guy, 6'2", I see there, that he stretched as far as he could, and that still wasn't good enough. So Odom probably just a little bit overthrew him. But as you can see, Odom is successful. So far, passing-wise, he's got 978, and there he comes up. It's 1 yard too short.
Or rather, 1 yard too far. So it's a 3rd down play for the Olympians. We're in the 2nd quarter, folks. The Olympians are at the 13-yard line of Arcadia. They need a 1st down here at least to stay alive. Once again, Odom drops back to pass. He's looking across the middle. And he finally goes through the air, and it's incomplete. Pass intended for number 21. Richie Jacobs brings up a 4th down for the Olympians. Let's see how they play it here. One of the things we know, Alex, and kicking is very important. And there goes Angel Andrade, a young man who certainly had his troubles in the kicking game over the last couple of weeks. Coach Carnes is showing a great deal of confidence in the young man, though, by sending him out in the situation, trailing by 14 points, although it's still in the first half, 11 minutes, 47 seconds left in the 2nd quarter.
Well, this will be a 29-yard attempt. There you see Carnes probably crossing his fingers because last week he missed 2 30-yarders.
All right, there's the snap, there's the placement, there's the kick. It's up, and it's no good. They show no good. So Angel Andrade's troubles continue, folks. The Olympians trailing by a score of 14-0. Possession now goes to the Arcadia Apaches.
Would have been nice to break up a shutout right now with 3 points and only be down by 11. But unfortunately for the young junior, Angel Andrade, his misfortunes just keep coming week by week.
And I'm sure Angel is certainly the most disappointing Olympian on the field at this moment. So it's a 1st down and 10 from the 20-yard line for Arcadia. And out of the 1st down, they keep it on the ground. And it's taken for a large gain by number 30 of Arcadia. That's Dino Pasquale. Pasquale picks up a 1st down and then some. So the Olympians are showing their vulnerability to the running game. They better tighten the screws, folks, because if they can't stop this running game, which looks to be fairly effective, it's going to be a long night for the Olympians.
Well, a very long night, especially when the ball carrier is 6 feet tall and 210. Number 30, Dino Pasquale there.
Ball's at the 38-yard line. That was an 18-yard pickup by Pasquale. And once again, they keep it on the ground. Ooh, a vicious hit on number 44. That was Damon Groves with the carry. And he was met by Tyrone Scott, I believe that was, and several other Olympians.
And Tyrone Scott hit him head on, I should say. A big impact there, helmet to helmet, face to face there. Just stopped the ball carrier from getting any more yardage.
So it's a 2nd down and 9 for Arcadia from their own 39-yard line. Once again, they come out in the I formation. They keep the ball on the ground, handing off to number 5. And he picks up 3 or 4 yards on the carry. That was Jeff Folsom. One of the things that they disguise very well, Alex, and even from here I can see what part of the problem is for the Olympians. I got to give them credit. They disguise the handoff very well. They do an inside handoff with a lot of rotation on the interior between the quarterback and the backs, and it's almost impossible to tell who has the ball. You know, I'm sitting here looking at it. Yeah, I got the advantage, you and I, of not having to worry about who's got it and just concentrate on what we can see. And once this time they go to the air, and the pass is incomplete. It's incomplete. He just flat dropped it. That was number 85, Darren Ogden, 5'11", 185-pound senior for the Apaches. And that ball was in his hands. That was an excellent throw. And if he had made the reception, that could have been big trouble for the Olympians. Lucky for them, though, he couldn't keep the handle. Here we see the pass. And you see there that it was in Ogden's hands, and he simply didn't hold on to it.
Well, I saw Richie Jacobs get burned again. That young defensive player, also a good offensive player, got burned. He's been having big games, but not lately.
So that makes it a 4th down, and on the 4th down, they punt away. And Richie Jacobs is back to receive. However, he won't have the opportunity to handle this ball as it's down at about the 25-yard line. So from their own 25-yard line, the Olympians will go back on offense, hoping to put some points on the board. 9 minutes, 49 seconds left in the first half. They're trailing by a score of 14-0 on 2 early first quarter scores by the Apaches. They scored at the 6-minute mark in the first quarter on a 3-yard run by Marshall. And about a minute later, a little over a minute and a half later, they scored on a 17-yard pass from Benioff to Gherkin that was set up, of course, by a fumble by Damon Whitmore, who fumbled at our own 26-yard line.
Well, the Olympians coming into this ball game are averaging 28 points on offense, while their defense is allowing 29. So if those statistics hold true, then they might just lose by 1 point.
If they hold up, and of course, in yesterday's edition of the LA Times in their Who's Hot, Who's Not column, one of the things that they say that was not hot right now, which was true, was the Leuzinger defense, which allowed in the first 9 games only an average of 180 yards. However, they gave up 392 yards rushing to Santa Monica. So on their first play from scrimmage, they keep the ball on the ground, and it's Zach Odom who's brought down very hard by a host of Apache defenders.
Well, that defense looks tough there for the Apaches, and in their 10 games, the defense is only allowing 7 points. That's pretty tough there when their offense is averaging 14 points.
So Zach Odom actually lost a yard on the play. It's a 2nd down and 11 from the Leuzinger 24-yard line. They're in an I formation. They keep it on the ground this time, and it's going to be stopped after short yardage. They cross the original line of scrimmage, maybe pick up a yard on the play. Makes it a 3rd down and 10. They're going to call it a 3rd down and 10. Well, 3rd down and 9 they're putting up on the board. So that's what we'll call it, 3rd down and 9 for the Leuzinger Olympians from their own 26-yard line there. 8 minutes, 35 seconds left in the first half. The Olympians are trailing in this contest by a score of 14-0.
Well, Zach Odom and company better come out throwing, because it's a 3rd and 9 situation. They need some big yards, and they need something to boost up the rest of the team on the sideline.
Out of shotgun formation, they drop back to pass. He's got Tyrone Scott, and he overthrew him by just a hair. Just a hair. An excellent throw, an excellent attempt by Zach Odom to Tyrone Scott, but it was just a little bit long. But I like what I see for the Olympians out of that shotgun formation. It does give Odom a little more time to spot his receivers downfield, and his throws tend to be a little more accurate. So maybe we'll see the Olympians go to that particular offensive setup a bit more as the game progresses. However, it's a 4th down now for the Olympians from the 26-yard line, and that's Jeff Loudon who's back to punt for them. And here's the punt, and it's a great high punt. Fair catch being signaled for, and they let it bounce, and it's going to take an excellent Olympian bounce down to the 20-yard line. So Jeff Loudon gets off a great punt and takes some of the pressure off the Leuzinger defense of having to defend the short side of the field.
That takes a lot of pressure off the rest of the Olympians there, because both teams could not muster anything. They couldn't produce anything offensively, and in the end resulted in the punt. So right now the game's starting to even up now. Both teams are starting to see each other, see what their weaknesses are and what their strong points are, and maybe the game will start being a little bit more even as we head into halftime.
Well, there are 7 minutes, 57 seconds left in the first half. Ball is at the 20-yard line. It's first down and 10 for Arcadia. They show an I formation. They hand off to the second man through, who is number 44, Damon Groves, and Groves picks up short yardage on the carry. Alex, the Leuzinger side of the field, their faithful who've made the trip up here tonight are a little dispirited right now. You don't hear much cheering. This team needs a big play to get their fans back into it and to get some spirit and emotion on this side of the field. The cheerleaders are trying, but they can't do it by themselves. The guys down on the field are the ones who put spirit back into this crowd, and they need a big play in order to do that. A turnover here in favor of the Olympians would be very instrumental in getting the crowd back into the game. It's a second down and 8 for Arcadia from the 22-yard line. They keep the ball on the ground, handing off to the second man through, Damon Groves once again. Groves pushes it out near the first down. He's going to be at about the 28-yard line. That'll make it a second down and looks like a long two.
Well, that's pretty tough for a defense coming off such a a big offensive game from Santa Monica there. As we see the defense here tried to hold off the ball rusher, but they can't get it. You know, Tyrone Scott isn't everywhere, and right there it was a little late. But coming into this game, like I said, the defense is allowing 29 points. But before the Santa Monica game, the defense was only allowing 9 points. So it makes a difference how much a game can mean when you get beat up by 41 points.
And we see Coach Carnes calling a timeout here on the third down play. I'm sure Coach is a big concern about what's happened to his defense. However, it looks like, in all fairness to the defense, they've settled down since giving up those early first quarter scores and seem to be getting a feel for this team and what they're doing. And basically they're showing them a lot of rushing. But he wants to make sure here that the guys don't make any major mistakes. Being down 14-0 is bad enough. I don't need to tell you what being down 21-0 would do for this team's chances in this first round playoff game of the 1988 CIF playoffs, as the Leuzinger Olympians have made the trip to northern LA County to take on the Arcadia Apaches.
Well, that really holds true, no doubt about it there, Rufus, because the Olympians are not used to trailing into halftime. They're usually the ones in advantage. They're the ones in the driver's seat. And just lately, they've been going into the dressing room down by a touchdown or two.
We're hearing from some of our colleagues up here that it's a double tight. They're running. They keep the ball on the ground, and they pick up the first down easily. They spot the ball out at the 34-yard line of the Olympians.
Spearheading that defense for the Olympians is a big number 19, Tyrone Scott. He's a wild man out there, diving and throwing his body, you know, because he knows what the CIF is all about. He was here last year. He plays a lot of baseball for the Olympians, and he's a pitcher. He knows what CIF competition is all about. If you don't give it your all, there is no tomorrow. Tomorrow you wake up with the pain. You read the newspapers that you lost. You got to come out winning. You got to give it your all, 110%.
And it's a first down and 10 from the 34-yard line for Arcadia. This time he drops back to pass. He's chased out of the pocket. He goes to the ground. He's brought down by a host of Olympians after a pickup of about 5 yards on the carry.
Mitch O'Gorman was there, number 43 for the Olympians. He was on hot pursuit of Benioff. Benioff didn't have any receivers open, so he just stuttered there and waited for O'Gorman to catch up. He didn't wait, but O'Gorman actually caught up to him.
They give Benioff 6 yards on the carry, makes it a second down and 4 for the Apaches from their own 40-yard line. This time they hand off to Damon Groves, and Groves is hit as he crosses the 40 at about the 42-yard line. That was number 24, Tim Camilo, who was in on the hit for the Olympians. Tyrone Scott once again was also in on that hit.
Well, for a safety, he sure is coming a long ways to get into where all the action is. Tyrone Scott's coming from way in the backfield to get up there and put his, 170 pounds there just to stop him and hope for the block. There we go right there. Out of nowhere, boom, number 19 stops him.
Tyrone Scott, who thus far has had a fine defensive game for the Olympians. It's a 3rd and 1 from the 43-yard line. He drops back to pass, and there's the pass, and it's knocked down by Tyrone Scott. Who is that masked man? Arcadia must be asking themselves.
Well, he sure does.
Everywhere.
He sure does look like he's got a mask on. He's got some white tape over his nose, the bridge of his nose. I don't know if that's for good luck or if it's a cut, but any way you put it up there, Tyrone Scott's all over this field. He's making the tackles, and he's breaking up the big play passes.
So in a critical 3rd and short, it was 3rd and 1. The Apaches went to the air. Tyrone Scott was there to make the big defensive play, forces a 4th down. And, of course, Arcadia is going to punt here. And back to receive for the Olympians is number 21, Richie Jacobs. And there's the kick. It's going to be a high kick. I don't think Richie's going to get a chance to handle it, and he won't. The ball is downed by the Arcadia Apaches at about the 30-yard line. So with 4 minutes, 46 seconds left in the first half, trailing by a score of 14-0. The Olympians go on offense, trying to put some points on the board, Alex, before the first half is over. Trying to get some offensive momentum, something to go into the locker room feeling good about, so they can come back out in the second half and start to play the kind of ball that we know they can play.
Well, that offensive momentum has to be brought to you by either Tyrone Scott over here on the near side or Richie Jacobs on the far side.
And we see the pitch back here to Damon Whitmore, and Whitmore comes around the left side. He's got some running room. He may go all the way. He's got one man to beat, and he makes a dive. He won't catch him, and it's a touchdown. It's a touchdown. That's a 72-yard touchdown run by number 12, Damon Whitmore. I told you that's what this crowd needed. One big play. There are no flags anywhere, folks. The touchdown stands. It's good. Our Olympians are on the board with 4 minutes, 14 seconds left in the first quarter.
And if that doesn't make up for that fumble on the first possession, I don't know what does. Whitmore is spectacular here. He puts on his wheels. He gets the handoff here from Zach Odom. Nobody is near him. He just takes off near the sideline. He burns a few guys there, and it's all goal line defense. That's all he's looking at right now. Nobody within right there 5 yards.
Excellent camera coverage by our guys down on the field. I think that's Mike Korotowski. There's the extra point attempt, and it's good. How about that? Go Angels. So the Olympians get on the board with 4 minutes, 14 seconds left in the first half. They now trail by a score of 14-7 on the 72-yard touchdown run by Damon Whitmore.
And that really is pumping up everybody. Everybody all of a sudden acted like these wooden benches here were made out of heat, because they're all up on their feet now. They got the adrenaline flowing. They got the momentum, like you said, the big play that the Olympians were looking for. I thought it would come in the air, but it didn't. Undoubtedly, it looked like Whitmore had it all. He took it all within himself to just get the 6 points and pump up the whole Olympian squad.
So, now the Olympians. Boy, that got me going too, Alice, because for a moment there, this game was becoming very painful to call, because nothing hurts me more than to see our Olympians trailing in any contest and facing defeat. But I think we're back on the right track, and there's the kickoff. And it's taken down near the goal line, and it comes up the sideline, and it's finally brought down. Was that Angel Andrade? That was Angel Andrade, so the young man is showing a lot of spunk now. I think he's got his wheels under him too, finally.
Well, that's what they need. They need somebody to take control out there, somebody to take charge and show that, hey, I'm contributing. Even though I can't make that long field goal, I'll make a tackle, I'll put my shoulders in there and knock the guy down.
And as we can see here, if this is a replay, and we do see the replay here, that was what would appear to have been almost a touchdown-saving tackle by Angel Andrade. And Angel got an excellent hit in there. You don't normally see kickers getting those kind of hits. Those guys normally try to stay away from having to make any tackles. That's not their strong suit at all.
Well, for a little guy like Angel Andrade, he's only 5'7", 145. Those are the dimensions I had when I was in high school. That's a tough guy right there, taking an impact like that. Guys coming at him head on, and you just throw yourself in there because you have to. You have to sacrifice your body and do what you can for the team.
Well, I'm sure Angel wants to do anything he can to please Coach Carnes after having missed a couple of big kicks over the last few weeks and having missed a field goal attempt earlier in the ball game. that would have put some points on the board for the Olympians. So that's certainly one way to redeem yourself, Angel. Get in there, show the coach that you aren't scared to make the hit when necessary.
And for Damon Whitmore, that big touchdown, it gives him 50 points in 10 games there, 50 points, and his 8th touchdown rushing.
So with 4 minutes 9 seconds left in the first half, it's a first down and 10 for the Arcadia Apaches from their own 28-yard line. This time they do a inside handoff, and that was Marshall with the carry, and he picks up a couple of yards on the carry. Looks like they're going to give him about 4 yards on the carry, makes it a second down and a long 6, let's call it 7 yards. Ball is spotted outside the 30-yard line at about the 31-yard line.
Well, this won't be no blowout from what the first half indicates. It's a very close one. It's only a 7-point lead that the Apaches have, and it may just be a 7-to-1 point advantage at the time the gun finally goes off.
Well, here we see once again they keep the ball on the ground. They break it through, however, for enough yardage for the first down. As they push the ball out near the 40-yard line, they're going to spot it at about the 39-yard line. Makes it a first down and 10 for the Apaches.
Well, the Olympians are countering. What they are actually indicating to the Apaches is, hey, we can run with you guys too. You guys score on us running and with a pass, but now we're going to do it on the ground.
So, from their own 39-yard line, they send the man in motion. The deep man comes in motion. Looks like a pass in the flat, and it is. This may go all the way. It's going to be brought down from behind, finally, by number 21, Richie Jacobs. That was a pass right over the middle. And the Olympians, once again, their defense is in trouble as the ball is now down inside their own 30-yard line at about the 26-yard line.
And from what you can see on the replay right there was the same basic pattern that they used earlier on their first few possessions. That was Darren Odegan getting that short little reception.
So it's a first down and 10 from the 26. Once again, they drop back to pass. They're going out to the flat. A pass, the completion is made on the far end of the field. We can't see who made the tackle. Tackle was made by Quan Banks, I'm told, and the Apache receiver, Jamie Brashear, is a little slow getting up on the play. As a matter of fact, he hasn't gotten up yet.
Well, the quarterback was also coming up slow because for the Olympians, Thomas Gordon laid a very hard hit on him right after Benioff threw the ball. So that left to open his rib cage area. Gordon took advantage of that and knocked him down. That's why they're down on one knee.
So it's a second down and 7 from the 19-yard line for Arcadia. The Olympian defense really needs to hold here. Let's not give back that touchdown to them to put them back up by 14. Once again, they hand off. That's Marshall. He's got a wide open field, and he goes right up the middle, untouched. Untouched. That was a 20-yard run. Yes, a 20-yard run by Marshall. Straight up the middle, Alex.
Well, number 44 there is receiving all the applause for the Apaches. Number 44, that's Damon Groves, not Marshall. And they're getting burned. The Olympians are leaving gaping, big, wide holes, and Groves is taking advantage of it.
And the extra point attempt is up, and it's no good. No good. So an all-important extra point attempt is missed. That makes the score 20-7.
Well, it was a handoff draw play that Groves used there with Benioff. They tag team there. It was a fake pass. Like I said, it was a draw play going back, making the quarterback look like it was going to be a pass. And he just came out of nowhere right here. You see it on the replay. There goes Groves right in there. Nobody touching him, high stepping in for 6 points.
Straight up the middle, Alex. Straight up the gut. You know, and if you want to win this game, you've got to be able to defend against plays like that. So the Olympians, who got on the board to trail by a score of 14-7 late in the first half, give up the touchdown that they got back from them. And now they trail once again by 13 points on the missed extra point by Arcadia. Here's the kickoff. There are 2 minutes, 6 seconds left in the first half. Richie Jacobs takes the kickoff, and Richie cuts to the inside of the field. He's got some running room. He's still on his feet, and he's finally brought down at about the 29-yard line. So from their own 29-yard line with 1 minute, 57 seconds left in the first half, the Leuzinger Olympians go back on offense once again.
Well, Richie Jacobs is going to have one heck of a night here in the second half, because this half is just about over with 2 minutes up on the scoreboard up there. Richie Jacobs, the defender that's been getting burned in earlier in the first half, he needs to come up with some big plays, hopefully a big run when they kick the ball to him.
So we see Zach Odom coming out of shotgun formation. He gets excellent protection, and the reception is made. The tackle is missed. This is Quan Banks, and he's got a chance. Quan's still on his feet. Quan's finally brought down at the 40-yard line of Arcadia. So with that, the Olympians get excellent field position, Alex, and get back in scoring position and a chance to draw a little bit tighter. There's 1 minute, 29 seconds left in the first half.
Well, that was your man right there, Rufus. Quan the bomb. And here goes the bomb. Zach Odom connects here to go Quan Banks. He just does a fancy footwork, sidesteps his way past two guys, and gets that extra yardage.
Does an excellent job of breaking tackles on that play to pick up extra yardage. Once again, out of shotgun formation, Zach Odom goes to the air. There's going to be interference on this, and there is. There is. That was number 21, Richie Jacobs. Interfered with by the defenders from Arcadia. And on the interference play, that's going to take the ball down inside the 20-yard line. There are 1 minute, 11 seconds left in the first half. The Olympians trailing by a score of 20-7, trying to get back in this ball game. And thus far, they've made an excellent drive in the late goings here to try to put some points back on the board.
Well, I'm sure that the Leuzinger offense will take advantage of that, and they'll take it. Number 24, Mike Gherkin, was a fellow guilty of that penalty. The pass was a little bit thrown towards the inside of the field, and Richie Jacobs turns around, made contact. You know, that's the penalty. They'll take advantage.
And we've got an official timeout on the field. Okay, there was just a little mix-up on the chain gang, but now they've got that straight. Once again, Zach Odom is in the shotgun formation, and there's a snap, and this gives him time. He makes another pass, and there it is to Quan Banks, and Quan is still on his feet. Quan may go in, and he does. He does. Zach Odom touchdown pass, 25 yards to Quan Banks. That makes the score 20-13. And with 1 minute, 9 seconds left in the first half, the Olympians get back on the board. They come back very quickly to score, and I like that. I'm glad to see the team didn't lose their enthusiasm. They could have become very demoralized, having given up that last touchdown, Alex, but they went to work, did what they had to do, and they put 6 more points back on the board with Angel Andrade's extra point attempt coming up here.
Very crucial attempt here by Angel Andrade. He needs to split the uprights for that crucial extra point. There it is, the snap.
And it's no good. Angel Andrade misses the extra point attempt. However, the 25-yard pass from Odom to Banks was good for 6 points. So now the score stands at 20-13.
It was a very well executed play there by Zach Odom to Quan the Bomb Banks. He did it all himself. Second and third effort is what got him that far into the end zone, because he could have been stopped. He played it smart. He's the kind of receiver that catches the ball, doesn't go through because he knows the defender there. He tries to go towards the inside, come back, get some yardage, hook around the defender, and that worked.
So, our Olympians have gotten their faithful back into the game. They're still trailing, but they're starting to show the kind of offensive movement, Alex, that we saw from them early in the season, where they were moving the ball at will against most teams, when they beat up on Laguna Beach, when they beat up on San Pedro, when they beat up on Inglewood, and some of the other teams that they played early in the season.
Watch for the onside kick.
However, they do kick it away this time, and it's taken off down near the goal line, and he's hit out at about the 20-yard line by a host of Leuzinger defenders. So with 1 minute, 4 seconds left in the first half, They go on offense, the Arcadia Apaches.
The Apaches come into this ball game here. Well, we'll see the pass to Banks.
Here we see Quan Banks' touchdown pass again. He caught the pass, curled back, broke a couple of defenders, gives a low glide there as he goes in for the touchdown. Congratulations, Quan. Congratulations, Zach, on a fine pass. They keep it on the ground, handing off to Damon Groves, and he's breaking over the middle. There's a flag on the inside there. We'll have to see what the call was. Groves picked up the first down, but there was also a flag. Looks like the flag was against the Apaches. And it was. The signal from the referee is holding on the Arcadia Apaches, so that's going to push them back and nullify the first down carry by Damon Groves.
That Apache offense is very much potent on paper than they are down on the field, because coming into this ball game, they've outscored their opponents 144-73. While the Olympians, in overall their 10 games, they've outscored their opponents 282-129.
So as the referee marks off the yardage here, they take the ball back inside the 10-yard line. It appears, from our vantage point, it's a little difficult to see exactly where it's marked. They'll put it on the scoreboard in a moment. I can see exactly where it's marked. They'll put it on the scoreboard in a moment. Yes, they put the ball on the 8-yard line, so it's a first down and 18 with 35 seconds left in the first half. And they keep the ball on the ground, handing it off to Groves. And there's a face mask on the play against the Olympians. You see the flag going in there. We can see it from here. However, with 22 seconds left in the first half, score 20-13 in favor of the Arcadia Apaches. That face mask penalty, however, will be good enough for a first down for Arcadia. And that's going to push the ball way out to the 30-yard line, past the 30-yard line. The Olympians definitely need to play good, smart defense here. Let's not give away any unnecessary points because they could pop the big play on us at any time, and 22 seconds is plenty of time. Come on, guys, let's play some good defense here. And they keep the ball on the ground, handing off inside. There's a fumble, but it's recovered by Arcadia. That was number 5, Jeff Folsom, with the carry. He fumbled the ball, but he was able to fall on it. And with that play, it looks like the first half is going to run out. And folks, that's one half of this first round 1988 CIF contest up in beautiful Arcadia, California. The visiting Leuzinger Olympians trail the home team Arcadia Apaches by a score of 20-13 in the first half. That saw them get off to a slow start in the first quarter, finally get their wheels under them and score 13 second quarter points, only give up 7 second quarter points, and now they trail by a score of 20-13. For Rufus Washington, I'm Alex Manila. We're going to take a little halftime break, but don't you worry, folks. We'll be back here to join you for the second half of tonight's contest.
Time for you to write down.
Hi, fans, and welcome back to the second half of this 1988 CIF first-round playoff contest between the Arcadia Apaches and the Leuzinger Olympians. The first half saw our Olympians get off to a slow start, trail in the first quarter by a score of 14-0 before they finally got on the board in the second quarter on a touchdown run by Damon Whitmore, 72 yards, and then give up another late second quarter touchdown before they got back on the board with an even later second quarter touchdown. So it's 20-13, and the Leuzinger Olympians are receiving to start the second half. Here's Damon Whitmore taking the kickoff, and Whitmore's got some running room, and Damon gets an excellent return out past the 30-yard line. Excuse me, Alex. Why don't you help us out, Alex, with some of the first half stats, and kind of recap some of what we saw in the first half.
First half stats for Arcadia. Damon Groves, he rambled up 54 yards, 1 touchdown, 10 carries. Pasquale has 42 yards, 6 carries. Benioff is 5 for 7, passing for 75 yards. And here come the Olympians.
And it's a 1st and 10 for the Olympians. Zach Odom fakes the pass. He goes around left side. He's got excellent running room, and Zach picks up over 10 yards on the carry, enough for the first down. Makes it a first down for the Olympians out near the 44-yard line. So they show excellent explosion to start the second half.
Explosion for the Olympians offensively. Zach Odom, 3 for 5 for 63 yards. All 3 passes coming from Quan Banks. Whitmore, offensive charge, 2 carries, 79 yards.
And on the first down play, this time they keep the ball on the ground, and they carry it forward for about 3 yards on the play. Takes the ball out near, it's a second down. It's hard to see where the ball is spotted. They spot the ball out at the 49-yard line. Makes it a second down and 6 for the Olympians, as they've come out very strong here to start the second half. They're trailing, of course, folks, by a score of 20-13, and I'm sure they'd like to get back even real quick. Here's Damon Whitmore with the carry, and there are flags on the play. There are flags on the play. Damon Whitmore got out near the first down marker anyway, and let's see what the flags are. Looks like it's going to be a face mask penalty.
That's a dangerous play to use when you got a ball carrier and you got defenders all over his helmet. Something's bound to happen. Slip a finger and pull that face mask down.
And it is against Arcadia, a big 15-yard penalty. That pushes the ball inside the Arcadia 30-yard line. And folks, I can't say how good this feels to see our Olympians open the second half very explosively, moving the ball with the same kind of smoothness and finesse that we saw move the ball with early in the season, Alex. From the 29-yard line, it's a 1st and 10 for the Olympians. Here's the pitch back to Damon Whitmore. Whitmore goes around the left side. He turns the ball upfield for excellent yardage on the carry. Damon Whitmore, they say he stepped out of bounds finally, but he did pick up good yardage on the carry.
Well, in the first half statistics, Arcadia had a total of 225 yards, while the Olympians only had 178. The big thing there was the total time of possession. Arcadia had 16 minutes rushing the ball of the clock, and the Olympians only had 8 minutes.
So from the 18-yard line, it's a 1st down and 10 for the Olympians. There are flags all over the field. Odom is still on his feet. He's finally brought down. But with all the flags we've got, we'll have to wait and see how this play is sorted out.
I went down on the field there, Rufus, right before they came back from the locker room. I talked to Coach Carnes. He told me that they would be going in the air a little bit more in the second half. And why not? It worked for them. That shotgun formation has worked for Zach Odom, so look for them to throw.
That flag was against Leuzinger. Looks like it's going to be declined by the Apaches. Brings up a second down for the Olympians.
Loss of 3 on the play.
There's a loss of 3 yards on the play. Makes it a second down and 13 for the Leuzinger Olympians. Ball is spotted at the scoreboard, shows the 18-yard line. I think it's actually at the 21-yard line. Out of the I formation, Odom drops back to pass, and he overthrows a wide-open Jeff Loudon. While we've got a moment, let's quickly recap the first half scoring for you. As I said, in the first quarter, the Apaches jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Their first score came on a 3-yard run by Marshall with the extra point good. That was 6 minutes, 8-second mark of the first quarter. At the 4-minute, 14-second mark on a fumble by Damon Whitmore at our own 26-yard line. They got a 17-yard TD pass from their quarterback Benioff to the wide receiver Gherkin. That, of course, made the score 14-0. Right then, at that point, things were looking kind of bad for the Olympians. They were having trouble moving offensively or defensively. However, in the second quarter, our Olympians did get untracked. At the 4-minute, 14-second mark of the second quarter, Damon Whitmore broke a big 72-yard first down touchdown run. What I'm trying to say, folks, I know that was a bit convoluted. On a 1st down and 10, Damon Whitmore broke it for 72 yards and a touchdown score. Angel Andrade, our troubled place kicker, was able to get the extra point through, made the score 14-7. Then, right behind that touchdown score, when we thought we were getting back into it, we gave up another score to them on a 20-yard run by Damon Groves that made the score then 20-7 with a little over 2 minutes left in the first half. Their extra point attempt was missed, and then with only 1 minute and 9 seconds left on an excellent drive by the Olympians, there was a 25-yard pass from Odom to Banks, and the kick missed. That made the halftime score 20-13. Our Olympians have opened the second half, moving the ball, however, and on this play we see Zach Odom dropping back to pass. He's being pursued. He turns the ball upfield. He finally throws it, and it's completed out in the flat near the goal line. However, the receiver had to come back to the ball. Looks like it was Quan Banks who the pass was completed to. And as each week has gone by, Alex, we've seen Quan Banks become a more and more vital part of the Olympian passing game. And that pass was completed as I look at the scoreboard down to the 3-yard line. So, folks, it's 1st down and goal from the 3-yard line for our Leuzinger Olympians. With 9 minutes, 53 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, they're threatening to draw close and perhaps even tie this ball game.
Well, Quan Banks, known for his defensive skills, is coming into his own. That's his 4th reception, and all 4 passes are to him, Zach Odom and Quan Banks.
So from the 3-yard line, let's see what the Olympians do. They keep the ball on the ground, and they score it. They score it. Let's see who that was. That was Damon Whitmore with a 3-yard TD run.
Well, Damon Whitmore there, number 12, this senior running back there, does it all himself. Gets the handoff. It was a fake handoff to Tim Camilo, number 24 there. Whitmore gets the second handoff with the ball, and he just goes right through the defense. There we see a fake handoff to Camilo here. Boom, boom. There goes Whitmore. Struggles. Takes one in. Takes 2 Arcadia defenders into the end zone with him for 6 points. And Angel Andrade, the junior kicker, going up to split the uprights. There's a snap. The kick is through. The referee says it is through.
Good. Excellent play-by-play work there, Alex. I'm getting a little nervous. You might take my job. I got to keep you off that play-by-play mic. Good coverage, though. Angel Andrade's extra point attempt was good. And, folks, we've got ourselves a tie ball game with 9 minutes, 39 seconds left in the 3rd quarter. The Leuzinger Olympians took the opening drive of the 2nd half and drove it the length of the field for a touchdown. Angel Andrade's extra point attempt being good ties the score now at 20-20, folks, and we got ourselves a whole brand new ball game.
Whole brand new ball game thanks to Damon Whitmore, a senior, number 12, wearing number 12 on his uniform, scoring his 2nd touchdown for the Olympians.
And here's Andrade's kickoff attempt. It's handled down near the goal line by number 20. He brings the ball back to the inside of the field. He's got some running room, and he's finally brought down out near the 30-yard line by, guess who, Alex? Angel Andrade. I think Angel has made more tackles tonight than he's made all season.
I think Angel leads the South Bay area for kickers with most tackles.
So the Olympian faithful have finally got the cheer back at them. They're feeling good. The ball spotted at the 30-yard line. It's a 1st down and 10. They give it to Groves. Groves goes around the right side. He picks up short yardage on the carry. They'll make it a 2nd down and about 8. And the Leuzinger defense looks like it may have finally begun to solve the riddle of the passing game, the running game of the Arcadia Apaches. But we're very early in the 2nd half, folks. There are 8 minutes, 45 seconds left here. It's a 2nd down and 8 for the Apaches. However, the score is finally tied, 20-20. On the 2nd down and 8 play, they send a man in motion. They keep the ball on the ground. Once again, the Groves. This time they pick him up well.
Swarming defense there by the Olympians. Number 35, Manny Gonzalez, another sophomore for the Olympians, a future all-leaguer in the future to look out for. There he is right there showing the coaches in the CIF play that he can make the tackles just as well as the seniors and the juniors.
So that makes it a third down in what would appear to be very long yardage, a 3rd down and 8 for the Apaches. This time Benioff drops back to pass. He's being pursued out of the pocket. He goes to the air, and the reception is made, and it's made out in Leuzinger territory at about the 43-yard line of the Olympians. And Benioff had all day to get that pass off, Alex. There was excellent defensive coverage there. The guy just made the play. What can you say?
Well, Richie Jacobs gets burned here. He played his defender very wrong right here. Benioff has a lot of time to shoot. Like you say, it's underthrown. Receiver has to come back, and out of nowhere, Tyrone Scott has to come because Richie Jacobs screwed up and let the receiver just catch the ball when he should be trying to break it up at least.
So it's a 1st down and 10 for the Apaches. Once again, they keep the ball on the ground, and the Olympians quickly smother it for no gain on the play. We've got a scoreboard malfunction, folks, so it's very difficult for us to tell what the yard marker is where the ball is being placed or how many yards there are to the 1st down. But we'll do our best to provide that information to you as we cover the game manually. The ball appears to be spotted at about the 43-yard line. It's a 2nd down and 10 as there was no gain on the play. And once again, this time he's dropping back to pass. He goes over the middle. It's intercepted by Tyrone Scott. Tyrone Scott goes around the left side. He's got some running room. He's going to be driven out of bounds at about the 36-yard line. So there was a turnover in favor of the Olympians there, Alex, at the 6-minute 37-second mark of the 3rd quarter.
I don't know, but that could have been Tyrone Scott's first interception of the season right there. Usually it's Quan Banks. He has 7 interceptions already. I thought that was an 8 and an 8 on that uniform, but it ended up being a 1 and a 9, and that adds up to Tyrone Scott. Right here on the play, you see him defensively in the right place, the right time. Boom, overthrown the receiver right into the arms of Tyrone Scott.
So the Olympians fought the 3rd quarter drive, that first 3rd quarter drive of the Apaches, and they've got the ball. They keep it on the ground this time, and they pick up, maybe a yard on the carry. There's a flag on the play. Looks like the Apaches are going to be guilty of a late hit infraction. That was number 84 for the Apaches, and of course number 84 for them is, hold on folks, I'll tell you in just a second. I've got it right here in front of me. I wouldn't kid you. That was Jeremiah Carroll, 6'2", 200-pound senior, taking out a bit of his frustrations as the Olympians have completely dominated the 3rd quarter thus far, Alex, and we've only got 6 minutes, 28 seconds left, and the Olympians have controlled the ball for most of this quarter.
Well, it sure was unnecessary sportsmanlike conduct because Zach Odom handed off the ball, and he didn't have the ball. So what Carroll did was, he, like you said, he'd taken out his frustrations out on the quarterback, and quarterback paid a little bit of the price, but so did the Arcadia Apaches, having the ball brought back up with them by that penalty.
So the Olympians are in Arcadia territory. It's a 1st down and 10. Zach Odom's pass intended for Quan Banks was thrown too high.
That would have been Quan Banks' 5th reception, 4 passes already going to Quan Banks.
The ball would, and we've got an injured Olympian on the field, folks. It's very difficult from our vantage point to see exactly who it is, so we won't speculate until we know for sure. However, while they're attending to the injured player on the field, Alex, as I've said, the Olympians have finally started to get their offensive momentum in gear. They've got their defensive momentum in gear. And they're playing the kind of football that the fans, of course, know they could play. And you and I know that they could play because we've seen these guys the last 2 seasons. And we know they're a fine football team. And it makes me happy to see them finally starting to move the ball the way they could. And, of course, their fans are very ecstatic at the way the events have turned in the 2nd half.
And it is true. After watching the teams play from last year, watching the juniors mature as a sophomore and get to be juniors, I mean, this team is going to have a lot of potential next year and the years to come. But like you said, we got the advantage. We've been seeing the teams in the past, and we know what to expect. And right now, they're starting to clutch up and come through when they need it.
And we see him carrying number 72 off the field. And, of course, number 72 for the Olympians is Mike Delich. And the young man seems to be in some amount of pain. He's having to be carried off the field by two of the assistant coaches. We're going to hope that he's going to be okay. If we can get any word on the status of his condition, we'll certainly pass it along to you. Maybe we can get our cameraman, Corey, who's down there near the field, if he gets an opportunity. Normally, if he gets an opportunity to see if he can find out what the situation is there. It's a 2nd down and 10 for the Olympians from the 45-yard line. There's Richie Jacobs going in motion. Zach Odom's dropping back the pass. He's got a man on his blind side. He gets rid of it just in time. Boy tried to get to it. He tried. Oh, man! A valiant effort by Quan Banks on a great throw by Zach Odom. He gave it all he got. He stretched out every inch of his body to get to the pass. Just couldn't make it. And, of course, Zach Odom was lucky to have gotten that ball away, Alex, as there was a Apache giving very heavy pursuit. I'm sure you could hear him breathing down his neck.
And there we go. We see the Apache about to scalp Odom. Odom lets go of it. And in the process, Banks just barely gets it out of his reach. It would have been an outstanding acrobatic catch there by the very well sure-handed receiver by the Olympians, Quan Banks.
And that, of course, brings up a 3rd down and 10 for the Olympians. The ball is still at the 45-yard line out of the shotgun formation. Odom goes back to the air again. He's got Tyrone Scott cutting across the middle, and it falls incomplete. Tyrone was able to get his hands on the ball, but he wasn't able to hold it. And although that drive stalls there, I like what I've seen from the Olympian passing game, Alex. Odom's passes have been very accurate in this half. They've gotten close to the receiver, and if you keep doing it enough, you're going to hit some of those plays sooner or later. But he's throwing the ball very well, much better than we saw Zach Odom throw the ball early in this season when he almost refused to throw the ball practically.
Well, Zachary Odom is showing that he's got the game seasoning that he's been looking for. He's only a rookie quarterback. See a lot of that arm next year.
A high booming kick by Jeff Loudon. And the ball is going to be down near the goal line. An excellent kick by Jeff Loudon, and it pins the Apaches deep in their own territory.
And one thing that you said you liked about Zach Odom is his passing, pretty accurate. One thing I like are the receivers that are helping him out. They're coming out of nowhere. The passes in the middle of the field. They're coming out of the side. They're beating their defenders and catching up to the ball.
They spot the ball on the, well, let's see, it looks like, okay, we see some ice has been applied to the knee of Delich. So it looks like the young man has suffered perhaps a knee strain or sprain. It's too early to call. The ball is on the 1-yard line, and they keep it on the ground, going around the right side for a short gain. Looks like they pushed the ball out to, I would say about the 4 or 5 yard line.
You missed that one?
That was number 61, Jonas Hurricane Woodring, who was in on that tackle. So from the 4-yard line, it's a 2nd down and 7 for the Apaches as they're pinned deep in their own territory. Of course, the Olympians would love to force a turnover down here. They keep the ball on the ground, as you might expect. There are flags on the play. Very short carry. Let's see what the flags are about, folks. And the referees are sorting out the action here. Some of the Leuzinger defenders are signaling that the penalty is against the Apaches, and they're asking for some direction from the coaching staff. So we're in the 3rd quarter, folks. There are 4 minutes, 38 seconds left. The score is tied 20-20. Our Leuzinger Olympians, who've been behind most of the night, have finally drawn even here in the 3rd quarter. It's a whole new ball game. Quite frankly, they've played much better in this third quarter, Alex, than I've seen them play perhaps in the last 2 games.
The Olympians have been known as a first half team, and now they're showing when the game's on the line in the CIF playoffs, they're a second half team.
So it's a 3rd down and 7 from the 4-yard line. The Olympians decline the penalty, and it looks like the ball is going to be pushed out near first down. We'll have to see how the referees mark it. But the thing about when you get in the playoffs, Alex, all the teams you play are good. And as you say, the Olympians have shown a propensity for starting out slow and coming on strong in the second half. However, I get a little nervous with that kind of play when you get in the playoffs, because if you get behind, you're going to find teams going into a ball control offense where they're just eating up clock and keeping the ball out of your hands, and you may not have that opportunity to get back into it. We're under the 4-minute mark here. That was a 1st down and 10. And once again, the Apaches keep the ball on the ground going around the right side. That was Damon Grove with the carry. And he picks up a couple of yards on the carry.
Well, Damon Groves for Arcadia, he was one of their big leading rushers there in the first half with 54 yards and 1 touchdown. So Damon Groves has been using his services there along with Pasquale with 42 yards and 6 carries. And Benioff, the quarterback, has had 75 yards, completing 5 of 7 passes in only 1 half.
And they call it a 2nd down and 7 from the 15-yard line. This time they send Grove in motion. They do keep it on the ground once again. That's number 30 with the carry. And of course for them, that's Dino Pasquale, whose name we haven't called in a while. Grove has done most of the carrying work since the 2nd quarter for them. That takes the ball out to the 24-yard line. I'd call it about the 23-yard line. However, it's a 1st and 10 for the Apaches.
Well, the Olympians did make it hard for the Apaches to gain any kind of momentum here in this 3rd quarter, because with the big kick that Jeff Loudon had, that backed up the Apaches way back to within the 2 or 3 yard line. It's going to be a big long drive. It will have to carry into the 4th.
Loudon's punt did start this drive at the 1 yard line, and the Apaches have kept the ball on the ground throughout the drive. However, they've gotten themselves plenty of breathing room as they've moved the ball out over the 25-yard line now. So where their backs were once pressed against the wall at their own 1 yard line, they're now in what would be considered excellent field position in comparison to where they started from. There are 2 minutes, 20 seconds left in the 3rd quarter, folks, of this first round 1988 CIF Southern Section contest, and it's a tie ball game between the Leuzinger Olympians and the home team Arcadia Apaches. Once again, Arcadia keeps the ball on the ground, and he's tripped up on the inside carry. That was Damon Groves. And as I've said, it would appear, and we've still got plenty of football time left in this game, but it would appear that the Leuzinger defenders have really begun to solve the riddle of the rushing game of the Arcadia Vikings, and thus far in the 3rd quarter have played very excellent defense. However, we've only got a tie ball game. If we want to win this thing, we've got to get some more points on the board.
And I think that all it took was a little bit of all the coaches putting their heads together. The big eye in the sky up here, Reed, one of their coaches for the Olympians, everybody putting their heads together, going up on the chalkboard and telling everybody their plays. And then that's what all it took, just putting everybody working as one unit, knowing what their responsibilities are, and now they solved the riddle, like you said.
And with that, we see a 5-yard delay of game penalty being marked off against the Apaches as they took too long to get the play underway. That'll make it a 3rd down and 14 for them, with the ball now being spotted on the just inside the 20-yard line at about the 19. So we'll call it a 3rd down and 14 for the Arcadia Apaches. And on the 3rd down play, they keep the ball on the ground. And off of the carry, that's number 5, Jeff Folsom. However, he's going to be short of the 1st down. That'll bring up a punting situation for Arcadia.
Well, he got tripped up by Henry Benz, number 32, got his left arm on Folsom's left ankle, and that's what caused the trip up and in between step, and didn't get the 1st down, so they're going to have to punt the ball away.
We're under a minute left in the third quarter of this contest. And it's a tie score. And here's the punt. We get excellent coverage on it. We don't get the block. And Richie Jacobs won't get a chance to handle this ball as the Olympians move away from it. And it's finally downed at the 33-yard line. Let's call it the 34-yard line. So from there, with 28 seconds left in the third quarter, the Leuzinger Olympians go on offense in what is now a tie contest, 20-20.
Last time we had a tie was Hawthorne Leuzinger, 13-13, and we wish the Cougars the best of luck. They're up here in Pasadena City College taking on Pasadena High School, so that should be a good game. If the Olympians do lose tonight, we will go with Hawthorne if they keep winning in the playoffs.
That's right, we're going to be with one of our local teams, folks, all the way through. So as long as they win, you'll see them right here. And there was a big carry by number 32, Henry Benz. Benz broke what could have been almost a touchdown run, and that's the first time we've called Henry Benz's name tonight as a running back. I believe it's the first time we've called Henry Benz's name at all tonight. But nonetheless, on a big first down run, here we see it on the replay, Henry just burst through, and he was only a step or two away from having a touchdown. However, that's the end of three quarters. And after three quarters, the score is tied. The visiting Leuzinger Olympians, 20. The home team, Arcadia Apaches, 20. Folks, we've got 12 minutes to decide who will move on to the second round of the 1988 CIF Southern Section Playoffs. And of course, I'm not ashamed to say that we're over here on the Leuzinger side of the field. Of course, we're the Leuzinger Network, you might say. Channel 60 Sports. Ably produced by Mike Galarza down in the truck, Ryan Cohn, Mike Korotowski, Dave, and all the other guys who help us out here and do a very fine job of bringing you Leuzinger and Hawthorne sports.
Well, these sports are something that do count very highly, especially right now because this is CIF playoffs. It's Division II, one of the highest divisions in football of prep caliber. And right now it seems CIF, the Pacific League against the Bay League. All Bay League opponents, Beverly Hills, Hawthorne, and Leuzinger, are playing the Pacific top three teams. We got Muir High School over there. We got Arcadia and whoever is playing the number 3 team.
So from the 45-yard line, once again, they keep the ball on the ground to Henry Benz. Benz moves out near a first down as he moves the ball over into Arcadia territory. The ball is right at the nose of the Arcadia 45-yard line, just outside of it. They may have to call this in for a measurement. From here, it looks like it's a couple inches short, and they do say it is. It's a second down and very short. It'd be an excellent time here for the Leuzinger offense perhaps to look deep into the backfield because it's only a second down in inches. However, Zach Odom keeps it himself and he pitches it back to Damon Whitmore. Whitmore's got some running room. Damon Whitmore is finally brought down at the 30-yard line. A big 15-yard gain for Damon Whitmore on an excellent option play run by number 11, the quarterback, Zachary Odom.
Well, Zachary Odom here does what I told a guy next to me. I said, watch Odom go for the quarterback sneak. It almost looked like it option there. He fooled everybody, even myself. Whitmore got it and just powered his way down the sideline for the good 10 yards right there.
Excellent play calling by Coach Carnes. Excellent execution by Zach Odom and Damon Whitmore. This time they drop back to pass. He's got a man out in the flat. There's a touchdown. That's Quan Banks. That's Quan Banks, folks. That's a 31-yard touchdown for the Leuzinger Olympians at the 11-minute, 9-second mark of the fourth quarter. The Olympians break on top for the first time tonight on a 31-yard TD pass from Zach Odom to who has become now his favorite receiver, Quan Banks.
Everybody has their favorites, but right now Zachary Odom is hooking up with Quan Banks. It's the Banks-Odom connection. And there's another 6 points for the Olympians. Jim Marshall for Arcadia got burned. It was a pass over his left shoulder. Quan Banks was there to cradle the puppy right into his arms. And here comes Angel Andrade. The ball is snuffed.
And the extra point attempt is blocked A critical extra point attempt blocked by Arcadia. Let's hope that doesn't come back to haunt our Olympians. However, at the 11-minute, 9-second mark, the Olympians break on top for the first time by a score of 26-0.
And just like we said coming out of halftime, Steve Carnes, the head coach for the Olympians, did say that his team was going to come out throwing a little bit more. What it ended up being was Henry Benz, the unknown, I would say, secret weapon, because he wasn't called all day. Probably last time was used in practice yesterday. Henry Benz, number 32, set up Whitmore, and Whitmore in turn set up Banks for that touchdown pass. Well, Angel Andrade is going to prepare to kick it off for the Olympians. His extra point attempt was blocked, nullified, no extra point. Olympians up by 6 instead of 7. Here comes Angel Andrade to kick it deep.
And we've got whistles on the field as the officials stop the ball in flight. So that kick will go for naught as they mark it off. It would appear that this penalty is going to be against the Olympians for a delay of game. That was Zach Odom's second TD pass to Quan Banks. Earlier in the second quarter, he threw a 25-yard TD pass to Quan Banks. And now with 11 minutes, 9 seconds left in the fourth quarter, Zach Odom has thrown a 31-yard TD pass to Quan Banks. And all of a sudden, Alex, we hear the Leuzinger band coming to life for the first time tonight. We see the fans up and dancing. There's a lot of happiness in the air. And we prepare again for Angel Andrade's kickoff attempt.
What we are basically seeing is the Damon Whitmore ground attack and the Odom and Banks air attack.
And there's Angel's kick again. The ball curls to the out of bounds. And however, they keep it inbounds. And the ball looks like it's going to be spotted out near the 30-yard line. So from the 30-yard line, the Arcadia Apaches go on offense.
And there we see the band getting all into it. They probably woke up. Zachary Odom probably gave them a message in the air after they scored that 6 points that said, hey, it's okay to start playing.
Well, it feels good now to finally be able to say our Olympians are on top, as they are, folks, by a score of 26-20. They scored early here in the fourth quarter. They keep the ball on the ground. That's Damon Groves. And this young man has got some running room. Henry Benz is giving pursuit. Benz may catch him. He finally is brought down by Benz. There are flags on the field. Looks like there's going to be a clip against. I'm hearing a clipping call being indicated by the fans here.
Tim Camilo was the one hit at midfield.
And if it is, that's going to be a big, big penalty against the Apaches. And that is the signal. You hear the cheers coming from the crowd as you see Henry Benz in pursuit. And Benz and Quan Banks, and that's Benz who trips him up, and Quan Banks drives him out of bounds. However, before that play took place, there was a clipping call on the field, and they mark it from the spot of the infraction, which means that the ball is going to be pushed back to nearly the 41-yard line. So a big, big Arcadia drive is brought back. And that's got to dampen some of the enthusiasm on the Apache side of the field, because if that play had been allowed to stand, that would have put them in excellent field position.
And there we see the replay again, and you saw it from the beginning of the replay, how Tim Camilo was brought down at halfway midfield there. He got clipped from the side, and that's what happens when you throw a penalty and you hit somebody from behind.
And Quan Banks was slightly shaken up on that play, folks. We saw him coming off the field with a couple of the assistant coaches. Let's hope that young man isn't injured. I see him walking around under his own steam. Hopefully he'll be able to get back into the contest. However, it's a first down and 10 from the 41 for the Apaches. This time they drop back to pass. Benioff is looking, and he's sacked. He's sacked at the 31-yard line. A loss of 10 on the play. That was Andre English on the play. Andre English for the Olympians. And folks, in this second half, the Olympian defense has been absolutely awesome.
There we see a late flag out on the 40-yard line on the Apaches.
The penalty is against the Apaches. They missed what the call was. And they're going to mark the penalty off on top of the sack. So that's another 15 yards that they've lost. So now the ball is down inside the 20-yard line at about the 17-yard line. So a drive that at one time was down inside the 30-yard line of the Olympians, which was called back due to a clipping penalty, brought it back to the 41, is going in the wrong direction. I'm sure the Apache coach is saying, hey guys, we're going the other way.
There's a lot of bad things going on for the Apaches. They can't get anything going right here. Right now, the Olympians are dominating the second half. They dominated the third quarter. May see what they can do in the fourth.
It's a second down and 35 from the 16-yard line. The Apaches come out, keeping the ball on the ground. And there was a fumble on the play, recovered by the Olympians. The Olympians get a big turnover. That was Marvin Johnson, folks. You've heard us call Marvin's name on plenty of occasions, and it's a pleasure to be able to call Marvin Johnson's name on a big turnover that gives the Olympians the ball at inside the 15-yard line of the Arcadia Apaches.
We didn't have a good angle from up here, but it's easy to read a big 3-0 on the chest of Marvin Johnson, picking up where he left off last week against Santa Monica. 2 fumble recoveries. There's his first one tonight.
And this time Zach Odom lines up under the center. And it's Tim Camille, number 24, with the carry. And Tim picks up 3 or 4 yards on the carry.
One thing the Olympians have to stay away from is being overconfident. They got the penalties going on their side, pushing back the Apaches. They can't let it get to their heads now. They need a score to stay on top and just drive it right into the Apaches' throats there and tell them that they're dominating and they got the advantage.
They spotted the first down play at the 19-yard line. Tim picked up 3 yards. The ball is now at the 16. It's a second down and 7. And this time Zach Odom fakes the handoff. He keeps it himself. He turns inside. He's got some running room. It's blocking down on him. Zach Odom takes it in himself, folks. And that's 6 more points for the Leuzinger Olympians. They now lead by a score of 32 to 20 on the 16-yard run by Zach Odom. And Zach, folks, I will say this, and this is a candid comment, Zach did most of that on his own. His offensive lineman got lost in the play, didn't know where Zach was, should have been blocking for him. However, Zach kept going, and here we see it on the replay. We see Zach sing around right.
Look at number 76.
Die on the play. Look at him. He doesn't know what's going on, and Zach keeps going.
That was John Guilfoyle.
Play it out.
That was John Guilfoyle. I was keying on John Guilfoyle, number 76. He was the only guy up there that had a man on him. You said he didn't, but he was the only guy that basically had a guy and brought him down. He brought him down. That's why it looked like he didn't do anything, but he did lay a key block, John Guilfoyle, and that's got to pep up the Olympians. The cheerleaders are under the goalpost right now, waiting for some kind of extra point or 2-point conversion. I would go for the 2-point conversion if I were Carnes.
I think it'd be worth the chance here. And we see, of course, we see Coach Carnes out on the field, talking to his team, getting a strategy together here. We're getting down, we're inside the 10-minute mark. The Olympians scored exactly 1:59 seconds ago. And at the 11:09 mark on a 31-yard TD pass to Banks, the extra point failed. However, at the 9-minute, 10-second mark of the fourth quarter, Zach Odom takes a 16-yard run, and the Olympians are going for the 2 extra points here. Let's see if they're able to convert and extend their lead. They keep it on the ground, and it looks like they're in there. No, they say no. The referee says his knee went down. They eventually got across the goal line, but the official says his knee went down in the field of play. Therefore, the 2-point conversion is no good. However, the Olympians, Alex, now take a commanding 32-20 lead, meaning that the Apaches would have to score at least 2 touchdowns to win this ball game. And I think the way the Leuzinger defense has been playing, that's going to be very difficult to do. However, folks, let's not get out of hand yet. There's still plenty of time left. There are 9 minutes, 10 seconds left in this contest. But it sure feels good to be leading instead of being behind, Alex.
It sure does. It would have felt a little bit more better if they would have had 2 more points on that 2-point conversion. They'd be 34-20 and up by 14. It's a commanding lead, but it could have been a little bit more commanding if Whitmore would have ended up in the end zone.
Here we see Angel Andrade's kickoff. That's fumbled down near the 5-yard line, finally picked up and brought out near the, oh, it's hard to say. It would look like about the 20-yard line from here, however. So now the Apaches, who led throughout most of the contest, however, they're trailing when it counts now. With 9 minutes left in the contest, the Leuzinger Olympians have a big 32-20 lead, and momentum almost is on the side of the Olympians.
Arcadia sure has its work cut out for them. They have to get in that end zone quick, go for an onside kick, and recover and host for another touchdown.
Ball spotted at the 17-yard line. It's a first down and 10. They're going to the air. The pass is completed to number 21, and he's hit hard by a couple of Leuzinger defenders, one of whom was Tyrone Scott. And I think we can say it now, Alex, if we were giving out Defensive Player of the Game awards, Tyrone Scott would certainly have to be my choice tonight. Young man's played an excellent defensive game for the Olympians, and he's kept them in the contest all night with big tackles, I believe with a big interception earlier in the game, as well as mixed in a couple of very good offensive plays. So Tyrone has had an all-around good game. However, it's a first down and 10 for the Apaches from the 30-yard line. This time they drop back the pass once again. He's sacked, and there's a fumble. We can pick that up and run. Let's see how they rule it. I think they're going to rule that he was down.
I saw Mitchell Gorman, number 43, jump all over Benioff. That forced the fumble. It wasn't a fumble, though. They downed it. It was number 43.
So on that sack, that pushes them back an additional 10 yards. They lose 7 on the sack. That makes it a second down and 17 from the 23-yard line. And out of our formation once again, this time they keep the ball on the ground as Damon grows. And he picks up good yardage on the play. He'll be way short of the first down. An excellent time to mix in the running play, actually, Alex. Although I think that, and that's good for the Olympians, actually did them a favor, because what usually happens is that you expect that a team has to go to the air to get back into the game, and you start playing just the passing game, and we've seen how they roll right through the middle with their own running game. So I'm almost happy that they did that particular play, because it woke up the defenders a little bit and let them know they've got to play both the pass and the run. Let's look at this 3rd and 10 play. As he rolls out the flat, and there's the pass, and that's an incompletion. They rule it an incompletion. Pass was intended for number 44, Damon Groves, and he was hit hard, looks like by Henry Benz on that play. Excellent defensive coverage. And folks, the Olympians have started to hit on all cylinders. And for future opponents of the Olympians, if they should hold on to win this contest, you better look out. It looks like our guys have gotten back on track after a slow last 2 weeks. As we see on the replay, there was Henry Benz in with a great hit to jar the ball loose. But the Olympian rhythm is coming back. And on 4th down and 10, Arcadia is punting the ball away. Richie Jacobs, of course, is back to receive. Jacobs takes the ball. He signaled for the fair catch. And they're going to bring the ball out. Looks like they're going to spot it just inside the 30-yard line at about our own 28-yard line. So from there, with 6 minutes, 48 seconds left in the contest, the Leuzinger Olympians go on offense, leading by a score of 32-20 in this first round, 1988 CIF Southern Section Playoff. I think you can almost expect to see, Alex, the Olympians go to their ball control ground game at this point and try to eat up some of that clock. Let's see. There's a pitch back to to Damon Whitmore, and he comes around right side, picks up, a couple of yards on the carry. Now, what's important, and we saw this happen to the Olympians, I believe, earlier in the season when they were trying to run out the clock, you've got to pick up first downs. You just can't run and pick up 1 yard and do that 3 times and punt it away. In order to kill time on that clock, you must advance the ball at least 10 yards every series of 3 downs so that you keep the ball and keep the clock running.
It's very vital, like you said, you mentioned it's crucial for the Olympians to stop the clock, get the first down, and then keep eating up the clock and let the time roll.
Once again, they keep the ball on the ground. This is Damon Whitmore, number 12, and Damon's got excellent running room, and Damon does just that. Damon picks up the first down as he pushes the ball out past the 40-yard line out to approximately the 45-yard line. And, of course, that's going to be a first down for the Olympians with exactly 6 minutes left on the clock. Clock stops momentarily as they change the yard line markers to mark off the first down yardage.
And that's just like what you said. There you see Whitmore doing what he does best, just ramble and eat up the yards.
Clock is moving once again. We're under 5 minutes, 45 seconds left in the contest. And they go to the ground once again. Damon Whitmore. Whitmore picks up excellent first down yardage again. Damon picked up about 8 yards on that carry, which means that the first down won't be far behind. And, of course, another first down eats up more and more clock. And I'm sure right now for Coach Carnes, that clock can't roll fast enough. They'd like to wrap this thing up, get out of here, get on the bus, and get back down to Lawndale.
And somebody else who would be enjoying this ball game because of Whitmore is Mike Korotowski. He loves the way Whitmore runs, and he's doing just what he says, eating up the clock.
And they keep the ball on the ground. It looks like they push it out for enough yardage for the first down. We don't see the signal yet from the officials. However, they do stop the clock, and they do indicate that it's a first down for the Olympians. Clock stops momentarily while they move the chains 10 more yards. And on the other side of the field, you have to feel a bit of consolation for the Arcadia Apache fans. They've had a very successful season, and I know it's a bit early for me to be putting this game away, but I'm feeling real good right now about the way the Olympians are moving the ball. It's a 1st and 10 from the 44-yard line. They keep the ball on the ground. This time they pick up very few yardage on the play. That's Damon Whitmore once again.
Well, I'll add on to that confidence that you just acquired. It's just rubbed off on me. I predict Leuzinger will win this ball game unless there's some kind of upset in the making here. Here we see a replay of what the Olympians can do is run the ball. There's Damon Whitmore. Olympians will be facing Antelope Valley, I predict, the winner over Dos Pueblos.
On the 2nd down and 9, this time it's Tim Camilo with the carry. Tim Camilo goes around right in and picks up about 3 yards on the carry. That's going to make it a 2nd down and a long 6, maybe even 7, a 3rd down and maybe 7 for the Olympians. They put 6 on the board, so I'll call it 6. 3rd down and 6 for the Leuzinger Olympians as there's an injured player on the field. It appeared to be a Leuzinger Olympian. Folks, there are 4 minutes left in this contest. Our own Olympians trailed for a great deal of it. At one point, they trailed by a score of 20-7. They closed the gap at 20-13 to end the first half. They opened the second half by, and that's number 24, Tim Camilo, who was the injured player on that play. Tim's coming off under his own power, so we would hope that that means that he was just momentarily shaken up and will have an opportunity to get back into this contest.
That's one reason this game has got to be such of a heartbreaker for the Apaches. They're on their home field. They got most of the people backing them up, a lot of support, and they were winning in the first half. And now to come in and just fall apart and be flat in the second half, that's got to take a lot of wind out of you. And, you know, you got to be heartbroken if you do lose this ball game.
So it's a 3rd down and 6 for the Olympians from the 40-yard line of the Apaches. Once again, they fake the inside handoff. Odom drops back to pass, and he overthrows a wide-open Richie Jacobs. Just a bad throw by Zach that time, but I won't complain too much because Zach has played excellent football all night long. And, of course, on that particular play, however, Richie Jacobs was wide open. That had touchdown written all over it, Alex.
We know Richie Jacobs is fast, but he's not speedy. He's not a bullet, or else he would have caught that. You know, Odom is entitled to a few mistakes, but luckily they're happening now and not when they really needed the perfect reception.
So we see Jeff Loudon back to punt. Of course, the Apaches went for the block punt. They fail to get it. The ball sails into the end zone, and it'll come back out to the 20-yard line. With 3 minutes, 34 seconds left in the contest, the Leuzinger Olympians have a commanding 12-point lead as they lead by a score of 32-20 over the home team, Arcadia Apaches. And one thing I meant to make a note of earlier, Alex, was the fact that we see a couple of Olympian players. I know Coach Carnes won't want to see that because he wants to see these guys paying attention to the action on the field and showing that they're paying attention to what's going on out there. However, I think they can allow themselves a little bit of enjoyment here as they played a very good contest and now lead it in the late going by 12 points. He drops back to pass. The pass is completed over the middle to a big receiver. That was number 85 for them, who's Darren Ogden. Ogden is 5'11", 185 pounds. The kid looks a lot bigger, and a couple of Leuzinger defenders, just simply dived into him to bring him down.
Well, another Division II CIF playoff games, as you see right there. Boom, Tyrone Scott comes over the top and takes them down. Beverly Hills is playing Santa Barbara. I think Santa Barbara's going to beat them. They're undefeated, 10-0, and a top-ranked team.
On the first down and 10 play, because they did pick up the first down on that last play, once again, the quarterback's back to pass. There's a shovel pass, and they ruled it incomplete. It's ruled incomplete.
That was number 41, Thomas Gordon, the little hit man. Always has to have a sack or a big hit, and that was it for the night.
One of the things I was going to say, Alex, a few minutes ago, I started to say was that I like about this Arcadia team, something we haven't seen from any of the teams we covered, and that's the fact that as high school players, their players have their names on the back of their jerseys, and I'm sure that makes the guys feel good. Plus, it's easy for us to identify who we are. We see the replay there, the incomplete pass attempt by Benioff. And, of course, this is a fine school that's in a very nice part of town, and they played a well-played ball game. That's Damon Groves keeping the ball on the ground as it goes around left side, finally driven out of bounds. Looks like he's near the first down if he didn't pick it up. However, the clock is momentarily stopped at the 3:01 mark. There's 3 minutes, 1 second left in this contest that the Leuzinger Olympians lead by a score of 32-20. There's still plenty of time now. I guess we have reason to be just a little cautious. Even with 3 minutes left, a quick score, an onside kick, and another quick score, and we're looking at a whole different game. So, you know, we'll hold on just a little bit longer, folks. We think it's in the bag, but we aren't quite sure because this is the playoffs, and in the playoffs, anything can happen.
Anything can happen, and while we're on that subject of other games in the playoffs, Palmdale's playing Channel Islands. I predict Palmdale will beat Channel Islands. They're in the upper brackets. Beverly Hills, I have them losing to Santa Barbara. Leuzinger, hopefully beating Arcadia, moving up to play the winner of Dos Pueblos and Antelope Valley. I got Antelope Valley. They're number 3 ranked team. I got them playing against Leuzinger next Friday night. We're going to have to have a coin flip, and see where we're going.
Well, let's hope that we aren't going far around the corner to Olympian Field. I'm sure Coach Carnes and the rest of his players would love nothing more than to get a playoff game at home, because I think that was one of the contributing factors last year to their playoff defeat up at Arroyo Grande, was the fact that it was a very long and exhausting road trip just to get up there for the guys. And I'd like to see that advantage shift this way for a change and have our guys be able to play at home, eat some home cooking, play on a home field. Once again, we see them keeping the ball on the ground, whereas if you ask me, I think they've got to go to the air. They pick up the first down, however, and the chains move. More importantly, the clock stops momentarily to allow the chains to move, and now we see a timeout signal. And we see Jonas Hurricane Woodring coming off the field under a bit of duress. And we aren't sure exactly what's wrong here. And of course the clock does start back up. It's a first down and 10 for the Apaches. The ball is at their 49-yard line. There are 2 minutes, 47 seconds left in the contest. They're trying to get back into this thing if they possibly can. They go to the air. The pass is completed, and he's going to be brought down at the 35-yard line. And of course the clock stops once again. The Apaches are showing that they're moving the ball, and they've got reason right now, Alex, to remain confident because there is considerable time left in this game. As I was saying earlier, that clock can't run fast enough if you're the winning coach.
And Tyrone Scott a split second sooner, and he deflects that pass by Benioff. He underestimated the speed of the pass, and eventually it was a reception.
Okay, we've got a break in the action as they take a timeout on the field. And now it'd be a good time to go to that break and fade out and change our tapes, folks. We're going to do a little technical work here while they take a break in the action on the field.